So this live reading, I'm just gonna do a quick reading on the staff issue. So this is a royal family reading as well. So somebody asked me, I mean, people have been asking for different readings, which I will do. I just find it easier to get royal family readings out of the way first, simply because there's so much energies, and like I said, like the energies um overlay into other areas of uh like other people's lives, so it makes it easier for me to be able to finish readings on the royals. Yeah. So yeah, I will do a reading on Macaulay Culkin and all of that, but I don't see Macaulay Culkin dying anytime soon, if that's what the other person wanted to know. He's got a pretty good life. Yeah. Macaulay Culkin, he's got a pretty good life. So let me see if I can adjust this. Okay. All right, so let me get to the royal family, the staff issue. I want to do a reading on that. I'm not sure how long that reading will last. Okay. Okay. Okay, so this card has come out here. Okay, so because I haven't received, like, whenever I do readings, obviously, like I said before, I try to ask several questions, and I did feel a prompting to do a reading on the staff. Like I said before, that the staff issue is what is going to bring down the house, or the royal house of Windsor, right? So okay, yeah, it's a lot of energy, so I'm just trying to distill the energies. Let me see. Okay, so hopefully you can see this card and it's not too blurry. I don't know what's going on with YouTube. If you can't see it properly, just let me know. uh okay, so this card here has come out. You can see a sword, you can see money as well, and the coloring is blue. Gosh, I'm really trying to align it with the camera, because okay, well, you can see the coloring here, it's blue, and the money, the notes are green. The symbol of royalty, it's kind of darkish colors, blue, purple-ish, kind of yellow as well, but blue is largely a symbol, and coincidentally it's also I guess a symbol of what represents water, which I've talked about before. William and Catherine, they decided to change, but they had water spirits, water energy, and then also the blue kind of aligning with Catherine, because if you remember the clothes that she used to wear, um, she used to wear blue quite a lot, and there's this sort of dress robe that she wore one time, which reminded people a lot of Harry Potter, right? Harry Potter, the Beaubaton girls. So this seems relevant, but I am saying it because it's linking to that. It's linking to that. The Beaubaton, Harry Potter, it's a school of, I think, girls, and they were part of some Triwizard tournament. So they ended up going to Harry Potter school, Hogwarts. So what it's saying here is basically like, okay, first of all, like I've mentioned before, the royals, Kate, she's not like the Kate that we used to know before. Again, I keep getting questions. People keep asking me stuff that I have mentioned, or I guess alluded to in the reading that I posted, if I guess last week, the one about Kate. That reading I posted it. It's not a recent one. It's something that I did, I think, like 2 years ago. Even if again, just go to the video. Is the reading? I've titled it "Old Reading." It's on my Instagram page that I did it. That's why you can't see the date, and it seems as if it's a most recent reading. But the fact that it's a very old reading, it's actually going to help you to understand whatever, like any questions that you might have about where Kate, because I keep getting, where is Kate? But she's there. I mentioned it in that reading. Kate is there. She's just doing this on purpose to hide from the public view in order to play, well, in order to put the public in their place in court. Yeah. So it's explained in much, like it's explained and detailed really in that video that I have that I uploaded. So I'll put the link again, and any other links that may be necessary to understand what is going on at the moment with the royal family. But she and Kate and William are playing games with the public. That is why they're not coming out and saying such and such. Like, there's nothing wrong with Kate. There's nothing wrong. And I mean, I haven't seen anything particularly wrong, except for the fact that they're deceiving the public. That's really it. Like, in terms of physical health, I don't see anything wrong. And I might be wrong, but for me, looking at my cards, I don't see that at all. So back to Kate. Now, the Kate that we used to know is no longer the Kate of today. And the last time that she was really herself was with this. Um when she wore that dress, like the Beaubaton type dress, the blue dress, and she was all smiling and giggling. That was the last time that, let me say, she was a female, because obviously, if you've noticed recently, it's like pants and pantsuits and stuff, not alluding to the fact that pants only belong to men, but you understand what I mean within the context of the world in which we're living in, especially the royal world, which is dresses and frilly, things and tiaras for women. Men don't really wear tiaras like that, so yeah, you understand what I mean? So that was the last time she was really herself. And then there was a cut. You can see the cut here. There was a divide, right? And now, on one hand, oh, hi, JM. Hello, Aries. Hello. On one hand, highlight Ray, respect to you too. Thank you so much. So on one hand, you've got the sword. It's kind of light. It's kind of light, right? So the light color of the sword indicates that she's not changed that much. In other words, this is who she's become, right? This light sword. And if you're not careful, you would attribute light to everything good, rather than consider that light can also signify, I mean, there's this saying that the devil can masquerade as an angel of light, even that in itself. So it's basically like, and if someone knows, if someone, William, Catherine, they're very intelligent, like in terms of how to manipulate public perception, spiritually especially. So if somebody knows that the if somebody knows that people tend to associate the color light or white-ish or bright-ish to goodness, and that person wants to appear to be a good person, then of course they're going to masquerade as white, a white-ish or a light-ish color, right? So that's what Kate is. But underneath it, the reason why even people who watch my readings, they might have difficulty associating what the things that I say about Catherine and her husband William, uh like matching the what I say to her and to him, is because she hides it pretty well, number one. And number two, they're just looking at the light around her. They're not looking at the substance. In meaning that, look at this sword, right? This is a sword. I mean, what is a sword? A sword can be used for fighting, and it can also be used to cut things, right? And then looking at this card, so basically it's to say that yes, the sword is not going to appear black. it's not going to appear dark or dark-ish. So whenever I say things like, the Cambridges or the Sussexes, the narcissistic, or like, they're not going to appear like it's a demon, whatever image of a demon is that you've been conditioned to think of a devil or a demon or someone who is into the occult. They're never gonna appear like that, because precisely like I just said, they know that people tend to associate the color white or light-ish behavior to goodness, to good. So, but what they will do in order to masquerade this dark substance with light, is to use money. So let me bring it up so you can see, hopefully, is to use money. So you can see like the notes. And in order to paint a contrast, i.e., in order to not make it obvious, in order to leave a distance between the character, the personality, and what they are using the money to do, they don't use coins. Because coins are closer to the texture, I don't know, are closer to the material of a sword, right? A coin is heavier than a note, less lighter. A coin is silver, right? Relating to silver, relating to this word. So no, they won't use coins. They'll use paper, and paper only. But being in the water means the water is a bit like the musical notes. In the previous reading that I did, I think a day ago or whatever, I explained the significance of music. Whenever the royal family does things, music is to lull you to sleep or into a state of ecstasy, so that it kind of dulls your senses a little bit. So does the water. And the water in this case is the almost subtle denial of what they are or who they are, to the extent that when readers like myself call them out on it, it doesn't seem like it, because they're not speaking, but they are, but through the water. So they're not using the sword so much. Yes, the sword represents them, but the sword is also halfway in the water. It's almost like you would have to pull out the sword to see the full length of the sword. And whilst the sword is in the water, you can almost assume that the majority of this sword is in the water, and that this little bit that I'm talking about, in other words, this little bit that you can see that represents them, i.e., the parts that I'm talking about, it's just a little part, not a big one, because the big one is in the water, and water can be unpredictable, right? So, yeah, you're saying this. And so, what I'm trying to explain also, whatever I say, you would either believe it or not believe it, like even what your eyes are showing you, because it's like, yeah, I understand what you're saying, but this is only a little part of the character. The majority of the character is in water. Oh, and guess what? You've called them dragons. They are dragons, but water can quench fire, right? So yeah, either way, things are gonna turn out fine. They're not. So this is for those who probably think that whatever I've said, even about the royals and the rich in Africa, wherever, this war that is going on, that they're not going to take it there, they will. They absolutely, absolutely. I mean, I don't take these things lightly, because, like I said, my partner is there. I'm not just going to start coming up with random threats when it concerns him or his homeland. Like, no, because I see it. And, that's what I'm talking about it, because people don't see the full picture. They only see part of the sword. So according to them, it's only this little part of the character. So how can you tell that the full length of the character is something threatening? And besides, yeah, you said they gaslight people, but no, look at the masses of people. The masses of people are also represented by water, bodies of water, right? Human beings have a high percentage of water. I think it's 70% of water in their bodies. So you can characterize human beings by bodies of water, masses, a mass of people, masses of water, right? So it's like this water here can also represent people. So there's a tendency for people, even like someone watching this reading, to say, oh, people are going to quench the fire. Let's just assume that they are a dragon, or let's assume that, yes, they are this sword, right? Like a sword can be used for fighting, but let's just assume that they are a sword. It doesn't matter because the water can quench the sword. The water can drown the sword a little bit, give them room to breathe, but yeah, still have them under control. But the truth is, you're not the water. The public is no longer the water. That's just a deception from the royal family. The royal family is both the water and the money because guess what? The money is being used to buy the water, to own the water. So, insofar as I'm not saying that the public cannot be the water once again, but from what I'm envisioning, they will never be the water ever, ever again. Um, they would have become air. I'm talking elements now, but yeah, they would have become air simply because this water character of the public, the side of the public that could have quenched the royals, regardless of the type of money that they have, that side has been completely corrupted. So it's just to say that if one side of you has been corrupted, right? And I'm also talking about myself here. So when I'm talking about corruption, I don't necessarily mean you don't have to say to me, oh, I don't really see the money that the royals have. I judge them, blah, blah, blah. No, even myself, like I don't see the money, but it doesn't matter because that is what they represent nowadays, today. It's almost like people have forgotten what they represent and what they stand for, and people are willing to accept them just on the basis of the money that they have, which is true because otherwise, why would people still be defending the royals if not for the fact that they have this beauty that comes out of being pampered from the money? Right. So it's just to say that it's not you alone, but myself as well. What I'm trying to say, I guess, is that there's a level of witchcraft that you can't overcome because it's just too far gone, and that is through the money. So for those who have watched my readings and who think what she means is the royals are going to lose their affluence when it comes the money, they're not. They are never going to lose their money. If anything, that money is going to increase. However, whenever I'm talking about the royals, and I'll take it back to the staff, right? The issue that's gonna bring them down, the royals. It's never been about money. It's always been about the prestige of working with the royals. Now that the prestige is gone, because again, I've said before that whatever the royals have been doing and are doing, it's backfiring on them, though they don't realize it. But that prestige has been drowned. In other words, if the royals wanted to hide themselves, right? Part of themselves in the water. It used to work before, but not anymore because now it's backfired. The tables have been flipped. Whatever is hidden inside that water, which the water is never going to change, it's never going to come out of the water again, um, is the good part of them, the prestige, the integrity. Because I mean, like I've said before, the spiritual realm is and has been for the I guess like since a couple of years and months now, it's slowly erasing the middle ground, the neutral ground, neutrality. So what it means is that if it's good, it's good. And whatever seems to be or is attached to goodness, it's gonna go there. So if you've got integrity on this side, then prestige is not seen by the public as a bad thing. So prestige is going to be attached almost like a magnet. Prestige is going to go here where integrity is, which means if the royals are drowning, if they are killing their integrity, right, by drowning it in a sea of lies, like the water, a sea of, when I'm reading the cards, like the reason why sometimes I stutter or I venture into other things, because there's so many meanings in the card. A sea of lies, like we've been seeing recently, a sea of lies, right? If the royals are drowning themselves in a sea of lies, guess what? Well, they think that the lies are not going to matter. But what the spiritual realm ends up doing is, oh, you're burying something, all right. Yes, you're definitely burying part of yourself, part of your lives, but it's not the side that you think, because we're gonna flip it. Why? Now you might ask, why is it working now? Like, why is it the integrity that is getting drowned and therefore the prestige? It's because of COVID. And I mentioned it in previous readings how COVID is going to change a lot of things, so many things. Like, COVID was the beginning of the end for a lot of institutions and a lot of paradigms, especially. And the royal family just so happens to be both an institution and a paradigm, right? So what it means is that what they think is being buried, i.e., the lies, it's not. It's their integrity. The reason I mentioned COVID, why it's flipped, and why that part of the witchcraft to bury the lies instead of the integrity is no longer working, is because money was rendered useless during COVID. Think about it. During COVID, at least for a while, rich people could no longer do the things that they could, and people started seeing the value in, okay, not just money. So I'm not saying money is relevant, but they started seeing the value in not just money, but in everything else. I'm not being specific in everything else because it depends on the person. Some people found love, other people found death. But what I'm trying to say is that something was broken. This sword, so what I'm getting here is that this sword could have been won. In other words, this side that is here, it could have been won with this sword. But what COVID did is to break it apart. So this one ended up breaking into this side and this one here, right? So now I hope that's not too complicated, but if you have any questions about it, just let me know. Back to Kate, to Catherine. The witchcraft that she did with regards to William, in other words, I am going to step aside because the staff issue is coming up. Me stepping aside, it's in order to keep the focus on me being a bad person or being a bad mother, because that's what she heavily identifies as, or towards the public. I'm going to look like a bad mother, but William, who is doing all these things, the school run by himself, he's going to be a good leader, right? Now, anytime I say this, to me, even, it sounds a bit incredulous in its stupidity and its simplicity. Because why? Like, how is that relevant to him being a king? But I'm then reminded in the cards, through the cards, that the royals, whenever I say the royals now, I think I'm really meaning William and Kate. They rely a lot on perfection, meaning that if there's a chink in the armor, if there is something that clicks out of the unity, it's a big problem, because that is the only thing they relied on, this unity that revels in perfection. I hope that makes sense. This is precisely why the fans cannot let you criticize them even a little bit, even though they may deceive themselves and try to deceive others in saying, yes, the Cambridges are not perfect, but look, they're better than the Sussexes. Even though they say, yes, they're not perfect, they do actually believe they're perfect. Again, why? Because if you criticize them even a little bit, or if you even ask them, if you choose to ask them, okay, well, since you try that, since you don't believe that they are perfect, what could they improve on? In what area are they imperfect? You're going to see that person stutter, or that person just try to give something really, really mild. In other words, they actually do believe that Cambridges are perfect. So that is the wall of witchcraft that they had going on prior to COVID, and then prior to the Queen passing away. So it's to say that the walls coming down on the House of Windsor, the Royal House of Windsor, it's not because of anything particularly that Meghan Markle has done or said. And I'm saying this to preface what I'm gonna, I guess, like, read into later, because I've seen a lot of things that almost like the public affection or the public's love for Meghan is going to increase. Not just that, but it's going to be like an adoration. And even in me saying it, it feels surreal to my ears and to my mind, because I really felt like, okay, I have to open the cards. That's actually even The major reason why I opened the cards today, well, that and the staff issue, but really that, because it's like I keep getting this nudge to read into it, because she's not going to be like before. It's almost like she's going to be sainted, like Saint Kate, but that going on Megan, and not because of anything that Megan has done. So it's to preface that if you ever see me talking about Megan in ways that it's like glowing character, it is not her character. It is because of this turn of events, the tables flipping, and precisely this witchcraft coming down, the walls coming down. Guess what? Um, I don't know if I've explained it before. When it comes to witchcraft, you have to be, before I continue again, um uh Cambridge supporters, royal family supporters, or anybody who is here who purposefully comes to a tarot reading page and then tries to deny or downplay the fact that the spiritual realm is real, it exists, and that witchcraft is very, very much real, um, you're deluded. And I don't want you on my page, because I get a lot of, yeah, but are you sure? People always want to pretend that they don't get what is happening, and they always want to make me, through seemingly innocuous questions, seemingly innocent questions, they try to make me almost like m- make things physical, like explain to me in basic terms. No, these are basic terms. The spiritual realm is very much basic. And as long as you, if you refuse to listen to what the spiritual realm is telling you, you're not going to get it. And at this point, there's nothing that I could try to say to you that is going to make sense in terms that you could understand, because as soon as I'll try to explain to you in terms that you can understand, aside from the spiritual realm, without including the spiritual realm, my my ancestors will not let me. They won't let me explain anything that excludes witchcraft. So if your intention is to gaslight me, it's not going to work. Or if you have gaslighted yourself so badly that you don't understand that when I'm talking witchcraft, I mean witchcraft. I don't mean, yes, but how is Kate doing today? No, she's doing witchcraft. It is witchcraft. Just because she doesn't come out and say it, it doesn't mean she's not doing it. So anybody who wants to gaslight me by just pretending that, okay, you've explained the spiritual side, now tell me the physical. No, it's all intertwined. Like you can see this word. I think that's partly why this like card has come out. It's a sword. Like the it's not distinctive aside from the difference, but it's intertwined with the sword, right? So that's just for people like that. So having said that, what I was saying earlier on about Kate, the whole Harry Potter, the Hogwarts, like the blue dress that she wore that reminded people of Harry Potter, right? Um, at that time, there had been a lot of witchcraft done, um, in order to prevent what uh what Harry and Meghan would do in the future. And as I've mentioned before, that the Queen, in passing away, like she expect her passing again. I said before, the witchcraft and everything, they choose when to pass away because they know what is ahead. As long as they manage to do a lot of spiritual work, a lot of witchcraft, they know that they can come back reincarnated in some kind of measure within the royal family or the confines of the royal family. So this is why a lot of members sort of like look alike, to their ancestors, recognize themselves because they're all part of this one family, right? So reincarnation, what we see as reincarnation. So the queen passing away, she did that in order to, and I said it back then, in order to distract people from what Harry was doing. The queen loves Harry. I said it back then. I'll say it again. She loves Harry. She loves Meghan. She did not have as much of a problem with Harry, what Harry and Meghan were doing, as the public did. If you go back to that statement that she put out, when they were talking about leaving, stepping back, she kept mentioning much loved. That is not, the queen doesn't say things lightly. Much loved members of the family, right? That's for a reason. So what I'm trying to say is that in her wanting the Sussexes to stay, back then, they did a whole lot of witchcraft in order to prevent the public from seeing what Harry and Meghan were doing, or would do, as a bad thing. That is why, again, when they do things, it's not a coincidence. That is why the dress that she wore is similar to Harry Potter. Why? Because Harry Potter is this one book that transcends all generations. At least I can say that because, I'm part of that, I guess, people who was of that crowd that, watched or read Harry Potter. Um, Me being part of that crowd, I can recognize through the through the cards and what my, I guess, like ancestors or have been telling me, that this generation coming up is gonna be the most spiritual or spiritually minded generation ever. So that is why I'm not talking about maybe, I don't know, like the witch of East End or whatever type of witchcraft, because others of older generation, and this is not an insult, but they won't recognize what Catherine was doing. The spirit certainly would recognize that signal. They would fall into the recording is kind of okay. So that was the witchcraft that they had done, not just her, obviously what was going on, but now they do because of what Meghan Markle has done. I've explained that before. Okay, I'm gonna stop this reading because I really feel like it's frozen. I'm not sure. If you can still hear me, let me know in the comments. Otherwise, I'll stop it and I'll restart. Guys, if you can't hear me, let me know. Otherwise, I'll have to stop the reading. Okay. It's chopping. But Light Ray, could you hear me? Like, could you hear everything I said? Okay. I hope so. I hope so. Okay. I don't know if I'll stop it because it's really it cut out. Okay, I'll restart it.